Well, we stand here in the now empty pit lane as the sun sets on another season of IndyCar racing. It's hard to believe that it has gone by so quickly, and it will be so long until we see this series reconvene in St. Petersburg, Florida. But I think the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, presented by Gamebridge, absolutely delivered on what I think the fans have asked for a very long time. And that's the excitement of an oval track, particularly a high-speed oval track for the season finale. And, I think the fact that the championship didn't quite pan out as exciting as we might have hoped it would, certainly, a seatbelt issue for Will Power ultimately being the thing that took him out of championship contention was not something that I necessarily expected to see happen. And in fact, the last time I can even think about a seatbelt really becoming an issue in an IndyCar race, ironically enough, also probably just coincidentally enough, I should say, with Team Penske at the 2013 Indianapolis 500. It was A.J. Allmendinger, and it really took him out of contention for a victory. So, I mean, it's such a rarity in IndyCar racing for something like that to happen, but it not only knocked Will Power out of second of the championship or with a chance to win it, it allowed Scott McLaughlin and Colton Herta to jump him in the championship as well. Now, the champion was the points leader coming in, Alex Palou. And I hope you've already seen the full interview I got to do with him after the press conference here at the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. But if you haven't, here's a clip from that interview where I think Alex showed his personality quite well. No, I'm good.
Okay.
No, I'm a professional, Alex.
No, I know.
Allegedly. Sometimes unprofessional.
It's okay. You want me to make the introduction?
I mean, you can if you want to. If you know how to do it, go for it.
Welcome to David Land News after the season finale at Nashville Superspeedway.
Okay, we're gonna work on that.
Okay,
right? You're gonna be a champion.
You can do the
next.
proper introduction.
Okay. So if you want to see more of Alex Palou, you can certainly check out the video which I posted, a conversation with a champion. Really cool opportunity, thanks to IndyCar, Chip Ganassi Racing, and of course, most importantly, because he said yes or no on it, I know that for a fact, Alex Palou for that interview. I think it was really good. And I mean, frankly, it's just kind of unbelievable, just a personal moment to be able to have an opportunity like that. And one of those people who gave me an opportunity, and I'm just so thankful for, first of all, are the folks behind the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. I'm talking about, there's so many names, I almost couldn't name them all. I'll name a couple of them, Eric, David, Justin, but certainly the face of this is Scott Borchetta. And of course, he runs the Big Machine Group. I mean, they do so many different things, and this is one of them. And they do most of those things above excellent. And I thought today's event, the crowd that came out, I'm going to talk about you guys here in just a second, but what Scott Borchetta put together here was worthy of being the IndyCar Championship event. And I got to speak to Scott just after the championship presentation with Alex Palou, and here's my conversation with my sponsor, Scott Borchetta. Scott Borchetta, you've been super important to this channel over the past couple of weeks, and it was finally the big day. I mean, just give me your evaluation of what I thought was just a fantastic event.
Oh, well, thank you. It was great to wake up this morning and see clear skies, because we have been stressing since last weekend. Weather looked terrible, straight up. Friday looked like a complete wash. Saturday was a total question mark. And the fact that we got Brantley Gilbert's world's largest album release party for his new album Tattoos in on Friday, the pictures from that are off the chain. 30,000 people downtown, and everything about Freedom Friday was a success. And then coming out here on Saturday, we had a really good Saturday crowd. A lot of people in the stands for qualifying. And then today was over the top. Fan zone was amazing, and our driver intro is really proud of that. I wanted it to look like game day, and it did. I mean, a sea of people. All the drivers were pumped that we had that kind of energy. And then, everybody was concerned it would be a follow the leader race. It was a great race. So a ton of positives to pivot from today.
And Scott, I think, I think back to the Al Unser Jr. Interview that you did early on in the week. We covered that, and that was one moment that I can say, as an IndyCar fan, to IndyCar fans who are watching this, you get it. You understand this sport. You understand how to promote it. Explain to the fans at home how you balance being a fan of this sport, but also learning to bring in new ideas and new things to bring people in and experience the sport that we all love so much.
Well, everything we do at the Big Machine Label Group, it's every time we have a new product, it's from zero. You never do something the same way you did it last time. So you've always got to be evolving. You've always got to figure out what that conversation should be. What's that psychological trigger in that moment? And so that's something that we are really challenged with every day, and making sure we're having the right social conversations and delivering on our promise and over-delivering. So applying that to the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, a lot of it worked and some of it didn't, but that's okay. We learned so much about how to market this race in the future. So I'm pretty bullish about what the future can be.
And those weren't the only interviews that I got. Obviously, there were a couple of drivers who were stars in their own right today, Pato O'Ward and Kyle Kirkwood. Here's some of their comments post-race, just after they got out of the car.
We've got work to do. We're gonna put our heads down, make the cars go better, and challenge for the championship once again next year. But hopefully this time we'll be coming out on the top end.
Well, I mean, first stint, it was looking amazing. Car was incredible. We obviously got hosed on a yellow, got caught out, and had to do a wave around, get back on the lead lap. But I knew our car was incredible, right? Like, I knew we could race people, we could pass people. We didn't need strategy to save us once again. So, and that's exactly what we did. Car was great, and I thought we had like a sure podium there at the end. But after we did the stop and we took fuel, the car got super loose on me, and kind of don't understand why. It could have been the burnout coming out here. It could have hurt the rear right tire, to be honest. But no, really good day for Andretti as a whole with Colton's win, and it was looking maybe for a win for me too. So I mean, as long as one of us got it, I'm happy.
When I saw the splash and go, I thought it was another Brian Herta special right there.
It was looking good. It was looking really, really good. It was just, I think I hurt the rear tire. I think I just did too big of a burnout, to be honest, on a tire that already took a lot of heat that entire stint. It had a lot of laps on it at the end.
And now let's get down to some of the serious business that was this race. There were a lot of concerns going in. Scott mentioned it, the weather. Many of the drivers mentioned it, the bump in turn 3. Others mentioned the package. Was the low horsepower with the, I guess we'll call them intermediate wings, I guess they're not technically short oval wings anymore, was that going to be the right combination for the racing? What about the alternate tires, which were a surprise to damn near everybody, and we weren't sure what that was going to do to the racing? But I think, look, was that Milwaukee? No. Was that the Indy 500? No. But I think had we seen this race right after the Iowa race, which was a complete clunker, I think we would have been over the moon that we had a pass for the lead and we had a battle for the win between two of the young rising stars. We're not even going to call them rising anymore. They are the stars of this series, Colton Herta and Pato O'Ward. We would have died for that earlier this year, and I think a lot of people need to get their heads checked if they didn't think that was a good race, because it was. And I'm not just saying that because of the label on my shirt. I would be saying this if I didn't have the label on my shirt. And I'm telling you, man, I'm so freaking proud of these fans who came out and supported oval racing today, and I'm proud that IndyCar and everybody here put on a great show. And the winner of that show, the star of that show, well, outside of Alex Blois' hauler, is already leaving. The no championship celebration for the truckie, I guess. But look, man, Colton Herta stood on business. His first oval track victory. And what a spectacular way to do it. You know, I think back to the practice session last night. Colton Herta was one of the few drivers making passes, experimenting, finding out where his car could go and where it couldn't go. And you saw that in the race today. He was making all of the passes. He challenged Joseph Newgarden, who looked like one of the strongest drivers in cars today. And, you know, Joseph, you want to talk about disappointment. Again, Joseph leaves Nashville, where he is so popular. The fans love Joseph here. And he comes away empty-handed once again. That's hard to believe. But Colton did a spectacular job today. And it's hard to believe that the first oval win hasn't yet come for Colton Herta. It hasn't come for Alex Palou either, but at least Colton's off that list now. And you think about the strategy battle with the tires, the fuel. I mean, this felt like a really old school race in a lot of ways. I mean, when was the last time we saw a fuel mileage race on an oval where people were really gambling and actually had a shot to win, right? I mean, I remember Scott Dixon really pulled a blinder on everybody at Gateway a couple of years ago. But this one, I mean, this felt like a 2010 race. And I don't think that's not a detriment to the race. There was plenty of passing. There were some points in this race where, yes, it did get a bit processional. But I think overall, again, we look at some of the races earlier this season, and I think we would have been exceedingly over the moon happy that this race played out the way that it did. So, Pato Award, disappointment again. So close to a victory, so close to sealing this thing out. But, man, and same for Joseph. I think, Joseph said it in the press conference best, and I've really noticed it the last couple of weeks. Joseph, despite winning the Indianapolis 500, I think is really ready to put this season behind him. I don't think anyone's going to benefit more from 6 months away from the racetrack than Joseph Newgarden. David Malukas was close to a victory today. Kyle Kirkwood, you heard from him earlier, really should have been in the mix, had a very strong car, and as you heard me say to him, I thought Brian Herta was going to pull off a miracle, another one of the Brian Herta miracles. But Alex Palou, what a fantastic job. What a fantastic champion, a 3-time champion in this series. And, I said it to him when we spoke just a few minutes earlier that I thought for sure we're going to see a lot more out of him. And certainly an oval win in the future very, very soon. A few more things I need to say. Again, first of all, to those fans out there, and I met so many fans this weekend of this channel and who came out to this racetrack to support this race. I cannot tell you how much that means to me. Again, the folks at Big Machine put their faith in me to help this race, and I hope that I was able to do that. And you guys stood behind me on that one, and stood behind IndyCar racing, and stood behind oval racing, and stood behind what we want to see this series become. Thanks to Big Machine and all the folks there. I've said the names 100 times, but again, they put faith in me to help this event. And, as a kid who's loved this sport dearly for my entire life, the fact that I've been able to help in this capacity with a race has been it's been a dream come true. Really has. And finally, I mean, I think about just this great season and you great folks supporting me. It's just amazing. NBC Sports too. I think I need to give some shout outs there. They started as Versus back in 2009, and they've been such a great partner for the series. It's disappointing that it ended the way that it did. I think, my theory has always kind of been that had the COVID 500 and COVID really in general not happened at the time that it did, I think IndyCar was coming off a great year in 2019 with NBC, and I think NBC was really high on them. But unfortunately, the way the world went, IndyCar kind of got shuffled on the back burner and never really got back there with NBC. But, the people who've worked for NBC, I know many of them really did a fantastic job for this sport. And we're sorry to see them go. We hope that Fox Sports is able to deliver on, a quarter of the passion that NBC brought to IndyCar racing. So, it's a bittersweet finale. A lot of things are changing. A lot of things will change in the next 6 months, and we just hope that the right lessons are learned from this year, and I think many of them were learned here. I think that this was a great event. It really was, and I got to see that behind the scenes too. So when I say I think that this race is in particular, but a lot of the things in IndyCar are moving in the right direction, I do believe that. Now there's a lot of growing to do, and a lot of tough questions that are going to need to be answered over the next 6 months. But if we can do things the way they were done here, if we can do things the way they were done at Milwaukee, I mean, I think IndyCar had a hell of an end to the season. And you look at the the disastrous offseason, we'll just put it that way, for IndyCar headlines-wise, and you think about many of the headlines that preceded May this year. There was a lot of drama and turmoil in IndyCar, and yet we leave this season on, I think, a pretty freaking high note. What am I going to do for 6 months? Let me know down in the comments. I think I'm going fishing.